Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has an expansive endgame with many different systems, activities and of course loot to earn. We'll walk you through everything you need to know and how to get the most out of these systems, so let's go. After completing the campaign and seeing the credits, you will unlock multiple things that are worth your time before fully focusing on the endgame activities. One of them is the Raising Hell quest chain. This is a list of side objectives that you can check by opening your map. In the bottom left, you'll see a list of objectives that focus on killing enemies in a certain way or in a certain part of the map. Nothing too difficult, but you still want to focus on these as completing the list will trigger an in-game countdown, after which one of Brainiac's hit squad spawns in to come after you. Killing the squad isn't that difficult and it can reward you with some nice loot. You can also grab some extra rewards by opening the map again and claiming your tier completion rewards, which will move you on to the next tier and give you a new set of objectives to grind out. Higher tiers will offer slightly better rewards, but as soon as you leave your session, you are reset to rank 1 again. Which is not that big a deal, as it's mostly the resources you get that are nice, and progress on individual challenges does remain even if you quit the game. You can also get access to brand new difficulties called invasion tiers. By playing on the highest available difficulty, you will earn XP towards these new difficulties, and after unlocking and selecting them, you will increase the XP and the amount of resources you get when free roaming in Metropolis. XP is not only nice for these invasion ranks, but of course also to upgrade your character, and after reaching level 30, you will get access to the squad skill tree. You'll need to put in quite some points before you start noticing the differences, as these skills only offer small increases to things like gun damage or ammo that can be upgraded by investing multiple points into a single skill. What is good to know, however, is that you won't have the entire skill tree unlocked immediately, as that is tied to your squad level, which is the sum of all 4 characters' levels combined, meaning that if you want to unlock the entire tree, you need to get every character to level 30. So even if you only plan on maining a single squad member, it's worth your time to get the whole squad to max level to get the most out of the squad skill tree. And as I said in the Don't Make the Same Mistakes video, it's also super smart to focus on the support missions first to unlock some crucial crafting and item features. More info in that video via the link in the video description. Now here I want to focus on the endgame activities, starting with the incursion missions, which are marked with the special mission icons with a purple glow. In order to access these special missions, you need a new endgame related resource called Promethium, however. Promethium is rewarded for regular missions and is required to enter any kind of endgame activity, with the price ranging from 500 to 3000 Promethium per activity. So a big part of playing the endgame is grinding out this resource, which I found to be a nice opportunity to try out some new gear or to level the rest of my squad, as resources are of course not bound to a single character. And while the endgame mission chain that starts when you finish the campaign directs you to a specific set of missions to gather Promethium, I want to stress that any mission that's not an incursion mission will reward you with Promethium, as you can see on the mission card. You can also get it from care packages, certain contracts, and by killing the red Cargonauts that sometimes spawn in the open world. And as I said, you then spend that resource to enter into special incursion missions, which all start at one of these portals. By interacting with it, you can select the difficulty for the mission, which is actually pretty important, but more on that in a bit, and pay the Promethium price to enter the portal. Now one good thing to know about this is that if you fail the incursion mission, you actually won't lose the Promethium you spent to enter the portal. You only pay if you successfully complete your objective. And if you're playing in co-op, the entry price will appear higher, but that is just because every individual player needs to pitch in the same amount of Promethium. Once the price is paid, you and your squad enter the portal, which drops you off in a new map. You need to complete a single objective here within a certain time limit and then make it to the exit portal in time. It sounds stressful, but the time limit is pretty generous, so it shouldn't be too difficult. When you first reach the endgame, you have 3 different incursion missions available to you. An IV mission, an incubator mission, and a jammer mission, and the entry price for all of these is 1000 Promethium. So they're all mission types you're already familiar with. The big endgame twist actually comes from the available loot in these missions and the available difficulty options. Let's start with the loot, which you can actually already see on the mission cards for the incursion missions. For example, the jammer mission lists firearms from the Bane Infamy set as a possible mission reward, whereas the Ivy mission description notes neck bomb molds and lucky charms from the same set. The loot you get from a mission is also decided by the difficulty you play your incursion at. Next to the 3 regular difficulties available at the start of the game, you can also attempt these missions at mastery levels. The higher these get, the stronger your enemies get, set and the more modifiers are introduced, so it definitely makes things tougher, but it also adds new loot to the pool that's not available on lower difficulties. The way you unlock higher mastery levels, by the way, is by completing missions at the current highest available level. And I do mean missions plural, as you cannot simply replay the exact same mission over and over, so be sure to switch things up. Doing so will also increase your finite crisis level, which kind of tracks your overall endgame progress. Increasing this level also unlocks new activities as part of the endgame quest chain. The first of these unlocks at crisis level 10, and it is a new mission type called Killing Time, which is effectively an endless survival mode where the mastery level ramps up as you get more kills. You can leave manually at any time by going to the exit portal, which I had some trouble finding at first, but it always appears near the central tower on one of the platforms. It's important you remember where it is, because if you die and run out of revives, you won't get any loot from the activity. So it's pretty high risk, but in my experience the reward is not really there, so I don't recommend this as a good way to get new loot. The same is, by the way, true for the hardcore version of Killing Time that you'll unlock by increasing your finite crisis level to 20. The catch here is that you're not allowed any revives, so as soon as you or a squad member, if you play in co-op, goes down, the mission ends. But yeah, neither of those are really useful if you want new gear, but you have to run both of them at least once as you're progressing through the endgame quest chain. Your next objective after that will be to reach finite crisis rank 30, which unlocks the final new activity, the mastery level Brainiac fight, which is similar to the one you did during chapter 6 of the campaign, so you have to do 2 objectives first before you can fight Brainiac's impersonation of the Flash again. However, this time you are required to complete it at mastery level 10 or higher, so that will raise the challenge significantly. However, you also get a ton of good loot for completing the fight a second time. It is also the most expensive out of all Elseworld missions, as you'll need 3000 Promethium for a single run, and it obviously takes more time than a single incursion mission as well. But again, you get a ton of loot, so unlike Killing Time, this one is worth the extra time and resources it takes. And I've mentioned loot a ton, as there are some amazing items you can only get from doing these endgame activities. What's actually nice is that you can already check the available loot in these missions by going to the Nexus tab in your menu and pressing triangle or Y. This will open up a checklist of all the available gear in your current Elseworld. Now, at the time of release, only the Bane-themed finite crisis levels and gear are available, but as the post-launch for Suicide Squad starts picking up, there will be more of these. Totally subscribe, as we will be covering the DLC that will be coming soon, and leave a like if you liked the video so far. For now though, you can see a list of the available high rarity loot, including checkmarks for items you've already looted. You can see that the loot is divided into tiers, with the notorious items like the Black Mask and Bizarro weapons you can also earn throughout the campaign in the first tier. The second tier contains the first set of Bane-themed items, and it unlocks after reaching finite crisis level 1, or in other words, reaching the endgame. So those Bane items can be earned right away when you start playing the incursion missions. As a set of infamous gear, the more of these you equip, the more of the set buff you trigger, so you'll want to combine the pieces to get the most out of it. And the Bane set has another secret benefit that you'll only discover through equipping different items, and that's its villainous synergy. By equipping different villain-themed items while wearing a part of the Bane set, you can unlock unique synergy perks that only trigger when wearing both items together. To make things even more interesting, the second and third tier of Bane items offer their own unique set of bonuses that can be combined with the items and buffs from the first tier set, and can also trigger the same villainous synergies. So they're really worth going after, as they open up a ton of opportunities for cool builds. The downside with these second and third tiers is that they require a bit more of a grind, because in order to be able to earn them, you need to play at a specific mastery level. You can actually see this when selecting difficulty as well, but for the second tier of Bane's items to drop, you need to play at mastery level 10 or higher. And if you want to get to the third and final tier, you need to reach and play at mastery level 20 or higher, which is likely to keep you busy for a while, and there will be even more Elseworlds content soon when Season 1 launches in March. When we learn more about that, we will of course let you know, so subscribe to not miss the next video, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and watch our video on mistakes you don't want to make by clicking on the screen. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.